Flying business class is more than just a seat. It's an entire experience, from VIP lounges to lie-flat beds and gourmet meals. It's a level of comfort that makes travel so much more enjoyable. But the best part? You don't need to spend thousands of dollars to experience it. In this video, I'll show you the secret business class route and how to book it for less than $1,000. Here's an example of how Singapore Airlines has been overcharging their flight tickets. Based on the latest available flight prices found in Google Flights, flying on Singapore Airlines economy class from Singapore to Tokyo and then back again will cost $1,200 during the popular upcoming cherry blossom period. With the high demand, Singapore Airlines can charge higher prices. Now, let's take a look at how much it will cost for a different traveller originating from Kuala Lumpur. To keep comparison fair, I picked the exact same date and timing for the flights. She will first fly into Singapore, followed by the flight to Tokyo to be able to fly Singapore Airlines. Let's see how much this longer flight will cost her. She's taking the exact same 1:55 p.m. flight to Tokyo, but was able to get her tickets $300 cheaper for just $900. From the airline perspective, the longer route has higher operational costs, yet they price it cheaper due to lower demand. Isn't it strange that tickets can be made cheaper this way? Without further ado, I will now show you the secret route. The booking will start from Taipei with a one-way flight from Taipei to Singapore in Singapore Airlines business class. In this example, the flight will be on 6th of June, flying on SQ877 Boeing 787, which is their newest planes. The flight will be a nice long 4.5-hour flight. The next part of the itinerary will be a one-way flight on 22nd January from Singapore to Hanoi, flying on SQ192 in business class also. The flight will be of similar duration, around 3.5 hours flight. All flights here are full-feature business class with automated full recline seats. The price for both flights will only be $756 cash for the booking. As this is a business class flight, you are entitled to a lot of miles as shown here. The value of these miles are approximately $84 back into your KrisFlyer account. Adding all this up, the effective cost for both the one-way Taipei and one-way Hanoi flight is only $672. Main thing to take note of, in this combined booking, there is a stopover in Singapore for 7 months. The duration can be adjusted to your liking, with a range from 0 months up to 10 months of stopover. So, why would you want a stopover in Singapore? This allows you to split your single booking into 2 separate trips, one to Taipei in June and then one to Hanoi in January. Right after the flight from Taipei to Singapore, you can just take your luggage, head home, and then take a shower. Then, go back to work for a good 7 months before taking off again in January next year for the Hanoi trip. So, let me show you how much it would actually cost if you were to book it normally. On the left will be a similar trip to Taipei, but with the typical departure from Singapore. Flying from Singapore to Taipei, and then a return flight back to Singapore. This comes at a price of $2,582, a very high price for travelers based in Singapore. Both itineraries have a total flight time of around 8 hours, with the main difference in the price. If you can squeeze in a Hanoi trip in the later part of the year, why not consider the option on the right? I believe it is the cheapest business class ticket available from Singapore Airlines, and it may not be long before prices go up, now that I have checked this secret route. It's a big 70% discount. First, head to singaporeair.com. in the home page, click on Multi-City Stopovers. We are going to replicate the itinerary shown just now. Our first flight will be from Taipei to Singapore. Like the previous example, the date for this flight will be on 6th of June. Then, we add a second flight. The flight will be from Singapore to Hanoi. The date of the flight will be 22nd January. Next, we select business class. Tick the flexible travel dates to see the range of prices for the week. Click Search. In this page, you will be able to see the prices across the week. This is where you can choose your preferred dates. We will stick to the current dates. Click Next. For our first flight, we will choose this flight timing and select Business Light as it is cheaper. For the second flight, we will select the Business Class option and then select Business Light. As shown here, this booking will get 4,200 airline miles too. Click Proceed. And here is where you put in your particulars and pay for the flight. At the payment page, you will be able to select the currency that you want to pay in. So, if you are based in Singapore, you select SGD in the next page. And here is how you find and purchase the business class secret route. The tickets shown are all Taipei departures. How do you actually start the journey if you are based in Singapore? This is how you do it. First, you purchase a cheap single one-way ticket to Taipei. For my example here, I picked a cheap Scoot ticket that flies from Singapore to Taipei on 2nd June. Then, it will be a 1-week holiday in Taiwan from 2nd to 9th of June. Next, we will be flying the first segment of the business class ticket that we just bought, and that will be a Singapore Airlines business class ticket on the 9th of June back to Singapore. Then begins the 6 months long stopover in Singapore, where you can go back to work or school. After 6 months, you will depart from Singapore to Hanoi in Singapore Air Business on 13 December and spend a week in Hanoi as a year-end holiday. Then finally, the last trip for the year will be a Scoot flight back to Singapore on 19 December. The total cost for these 2 full trips in a year is approximately $1,000. Furthermore, I have purposely used school holiday dates in June and December as my example to show how effective this secret route in avoiding the typical high charges that Singapore travelers will face when booking flight tickets. Since all of you have watched till this portion of the video, this is when I share a secret tip with all of you. You could replace the Hanoi destination with Bangkok and so on. Stay on the video for the next few minutes for inspiration for your next business class trip. You may adjust the dates according to the methods I have shared earlier. First flight from Taipei to Singapore. Second flight from Singapore to Penang. First flight from Taipei to Singapore. Second flight from Singapore to Bali. Second flight from Singapore to Da Nang. Second flight from Singapore to Manila. Second flight from Singapore to Cebu. Second flight from Singapore to Ho Chi Minh. Second flight from Singapore to Jakarta. Second flight from Singapore to Phuket. Second flight from Singapore to Yangon. Second flight from Singapore to Brunei. Today's video focuses on an affordable Singapore Airlines business class route, and their seats are some of the best I've flown in. The seats fully recline into a bed, perfect for long-haul flights. Pajamas and blankets are available on request. Additionally, the air stewardess is able to set up the bed for you on request. Singapore Airlines offer Book the Cook menu with over 30 meals options. If you're flying with them, I highly recommend trying these dishes. Dutch mini pancakes, chicken satay, beef cheek. Best dishes I've had in the air. When I was younger, I had always wanted to fly business class just like my favorite influencers. But I was unable to afford the prices required. When I became older with some money saved, business class was within reach, but yet still too expensive. But that changed when I started to book flight tickets, like how I've shared with all of you. It is my hope that everyone is able to enjoy the perks of business class at economy prices. Anyways, I will be flying the Taiwan segment of the booking next month. Subscribe to see my review of the flight and for more tips and tricks to maximize your SIA business class experience.